So what's this about My Kitchen Rules, first of all?
So
I'm out of the loop.
Oh, you're out of the loop.
I'm
You
out of
must
the
be out
loop.
of the loop if you're not watching
Yeah.
reality TV for people over the age of 40. It's probably about 12 weeks ago now, longer, probably about 20 weeks ago nearly, that these two young women, Lol and Lil, they're from Logan. They
Oh, the
went
young
on-
girls?
Yeah,
No,
they
I've been seeing them a lot. Yeah.
They went on My Kitchen Rules.
Yeah.
And really early on, like during the instant restaurant phase, this guy called Michael, who's the self-proclaimed meat master, said that they were too young and that they were just bogans from Logan and that they didn't know how to cook. And I clapped back pretty hard on that.
Yeah,
I came out on social media, then on national television, and just put him in his place pretty hard. And the community absolutely loves it when their mayor stands up for them and fights back against people who just use old stereotypes that don't apply to us anymore. But also, it's not a bad thing to be a bogan, man. Like, bogans are everyday Australians, right?
Paul Hogan is one of our idols, right?
That's right. Bogans work hard, they love fast cars, and they take care of their mates. I don't see that as a bad thing.
And they're down to earth.
Yeah, that's right.
They're not superficial.
Exactly.
You know, and we don't like that, do we?
No, we don't. Not in Logan.
No, not in Logan.
Gotta be real, bro. Gotta be real.
No, one thing I did see on the news was, I think it was Logan Home Shopping Centre, was everyone was getting interviewed about that.
Yes.
And they were all showing their support and love for the girls.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
was great.
It's really, really strong. And just shows you how proud the city is.
Yeah, 100%.
Of anyone who steps up, which is different. Like, you didn't see that because Michael, the meat master's from the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Their mayor doesn't care what happens on the Gold Coast, right?
Yeah.
And not really interested
Yeah.
in individuals in the community. Like, he's a big picture guy, but he's not down there helping people who are doing great things to stand up and rep their city better. So that's a big part of my job.
Awesome. All right, we going? All right. Welcome back to another episode of The Truth in the Youth. I am honoured to be joined by the one and the only Mayor Jon Raven. Thanks for coming on.
Hey,
quick round of applause, eh?
Yeah, I'll clap myself. That's good. That's good times.
So, some quick stats for you. Mayor Raven was elected in March of 2024, previously serving as councillor for Division 5 over approximately 8 years. And many, including myself, have called him the champion for the Logan people and community. Am I wrong in anything I've just said?
No, you're perfectly right. I've got some extra factoids for you.
Yeah, please, in your own words.
Youngest mayor ever elected in the city.
I was going to say youngest and best looking as well.
No, we don't do. I used to be before I became mayor, and then my forehead's just getting bigger.
No, that's all right. Yeah, so just let us know what kind of gets you out of bed to preserve and grow the great city of Logan.
What gets me out of bed is a work ethic that I developed through running my own business, right? And because success isn't determined by talent, it's determined by persistence. The people who keep showing up are the people who achieve great things. And so I know that if I want to achieve great things, I can't show up one day a week or one day a month. I have to show up every single day, 7 days a week for the community. And I absolutely love it. The difference, the impact you can make as a mayor is truly unique. There is no other role like it. And young people often say to me, what is it like? I'm like, it's like someone's given me the ability to help people every day in 1,000 different ways. And the only person who slows me down is me. Like if I don't push hard, then we don't do as much. If I push hard, then a $1.2 billion organization does more for the people that we represent.
Yeah, awesome. So what was your business before you got into politics?
I actually had a whole heap of businesses because I was at an event last night with a bunch of entrepreneurs. And they were like, "What was your business?" I'm like, "Well, my last business was an asbestos removal and demolition company. I started that when I was 23, and we started out as two blokes in a truck and ended up working in every state, every mainland state in Australia, and mainly up and down the eastern seaboard and doing government work and all sorts of other bits and pieces, really high profile niche work that no one else wanted to touch. But I'd had about 6 businesses before that. I probably started when I was 14, 15, just trying to hustle, basically, find a way to make money that didn't have to necessarily involve paying the tax man. Sorry, ATO. But just find ways to be able to like support myself, be generous to my mates, and feel like I was doing something meaningful.
Yeah, right. Awesome stuff. So another thing I was personally curious about is when you first really got into politics, what was kind of something that just stood out to you, or you were like, "Oh wow, I was never expecting this in my whole life to just, you know."
So when I first started, something that stood out. The funniest one is that because I used to be a tradie, so I drive all over, and not a proper tradie though. Because
what's not a proper tradie?
Well, I don't have a trade ticket, right? So asbestos removalists just have they just have certificate 4s and diplomas, or they do like a very specific type of qualification. But the thing, I would start most mornings. I'd leave my place at 5:30 to be at my first quote by 6:30, and I'd gradually work my way back down through towards home or towards the job that I was going to go visit that day. And then my first day of being a counsellor, I had to see the mayor at 9.
Yep.
And I still woke up at like 4:45 to get ready for work because I was just used to that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, geez, what do I do with my morning? I've got all this stuff to do, right? So I prayed, I did a bit of meditation.
Yeah, awesome.
And then I jumped in the car at 8:15 thinking it'll still take me a while to get to work because, peak hour traffic. I was there in 7 minutes.
Oh.
And that changed my entire perspective on life. So if you can work close to home, you literally get 2 hours back in your life every single day that otherwise you were just spending in the car or on the train. And that meant more time with my family. So that's why I'm really big on local jobs because I want people in Logan to be able to have that experience. Be like, actually, it takes me 7 minutes to get to work.
Yeah.
And that way I can spend that time either taking care of myself or taking care of my family.
Awesome. So just coming back to Logan, I just want to discuss some of the great things about Logan, which I think aren't spoken about enough in mainstream media and whatnot, and especially where I'm from, the north side.
Oh,
exactly.
Do they have flushing toilets up on the north side yet, man?
Not yet.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Didn't think so. So recently, actually, one thing I wanted to ask you was I saw on the news, I think it was a few weeks back, that they're wanting to make everything Brisbane. I saw, and then you were on the news.
I clap back hard on that one, bro.
What the hell was that about? Tell me.
It came, so we have this thing called the Council of Mayors Southeast Queensland. So that's where all the mayors in Southeast Queensland, except for Gold Coast, they're not part of it.
Yeah.
We come together and we talk about things that we can benefit by working together because while it's good to set up for your city, if you work together with 12 councils, you can achieve bigger things. And in Southeast Queensland, 7 out of 8 Queenslanders live in our region. So that's a lot of people that we represent.
Yeah.
So we try to advocate to other levels of government, bring opportunities here. And for the Olympics, there was a really early decision made that for the games, we were completely in lockstep with Brisbane. They would be the Brisbane games, the Brisbane 32 games. Yeah. No one was going to go out going Logan 32 or Redland 32, right? So every single mayor was like, that makes so much sense. Let's do that. And then a bloke who works for the AOC got a little bit cheeky. And was like, let's just rename the whole region Brisbane.
And why?
Who knows? And not for the purpose of the games forever. And of course, no mayor is going to cop that. The mayor of the Sunshine Coast, Rosanna Natoli, she punched back hard. I punched back hard. No one's having a bar of that because
Adrian say.
Well, I see Adrian don't care because it's his city, right?
Yeah.
And so but even like Tom Tate was like, yeah, okay, we could do that. I'm like, why would you do that? Gold Coast and Brisbane are so different.
And
exactly. But anyway, so the idea of it is that if you look at something like LA, LA is actually a lot of cities, and you don't think about that. It's just all one like sort of city region.
Yeah.
And same thing with Melbourne and Sydney. So the city of Melbourne is about 6 blocks. Right, it's tiny. Logan's a way bigger city with more people, bigger budget, right? But when you think of Melbourne as a capital city of Victoria, what you're actually thinking of is about 6 different cities, but no one knows the names of those cities and they don't have their own identity. Whereas people in Logan are fiercely proud of where they live.
Yes.
And they do not want to be called Brisbane. And in fact, more people move to Logan from Brisbane than anywhere else in Australia. Yeah. Those people are leaving for a reason. Yeah. They didn't leave Brisbane so it could follow them into the greatest city in the country.
That's the way. And one thing I wanted to also mention was I think it was the same day that I met you for the first time. I don't think we met personally, but you came to my father used to work at NTAW, National Tire and Wheel, and you came to the opening at Barrenburg for that.
Yes.
And you cut the ribbon.
Yeah, heaps of fun.
Yeah, that was a good day. And then that was during the day. Then at night we went to the Woodridge State High graduation ceremony. And I was graduating that year in 23. So this is just before you got elected as mayor. So I remember you were introduced as the councillor that day. So that night we went to the Woodridge State High graduation ceremony and I was Dad's +1, right, at the front seat. And that's when we got sat next to Miss Gail Kerr,
a
thriving local. And that's when we met her. And she's the reason I'm here today.
Nice.
So
I'll tell her that. I've got a missed call from her. So as soon as I get out of here,
Yeah. No, it was great. So where was I going with this? Yes. That was a Thursday. It was a Thursday night. And I remember just sitting there and watching the whole graduation ceremony. And it was filled with all these different religions and cultures and performances. And it was just beautiful and great.
Welcome to Logan.
Yeah, exactly. It was just immense, just family values and morals and love.
Yeah. And that connection, that communal mindset, which often comes from cultures that aren't Anglo-Saxon cultures like mine. I'm a little bit jealous of it. I've often said I wish I was Pacifica because I grew up with a lot of Samoans and I saw the way their families helped each other, supported each other. It wasn't like that for my friends who were skips like I was. They were very isolated compared to our Pacifica friends. So yeah, it's really powerful, and it changes the way that you think about your life, about how you work, about what you do when you succeed, and how you succeed. It's profound.
Yeah. So the second part to this story is the next day I had my graduation, and I won't say the school, but on the north side. And
you would have been the most coloured dude there, I reckon.
Oh, I was.
you wouldn't have had many friends.
I was a spot of darkness and a sheet of paper, you know.
Yeah, I notice it a lot when I'll go to other parts of the state or the country, it stands out to me that there's a lot of diversity in Logan. Like go to somewhere like Woodridge, Marsden State High. Literally, there are more kids of color than there are kids that look like me, and it's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's just great. And then the food.
Yeah,
the food,
the culture, the dance, the music, around, the fashion. Yeah,
it's great. So, Truth in the Youth is about young people and what we can discuss, which isn't really typically discussed in traditional education.
Yep.
So, in terms of your youth and your teenage years, let's go back. Take me back. To let's go 15, 16, you know?
So to understand 15, 16-year-old Jon, you've got to understand 12-year-old Jon.
Yep.
So I'll touch on that real quick, and then I'll fast forward you. So when I was in primary school, I got badly bullied. And like I was picked on because I was small. I was pretty awkward, and I just wasn't cool. Right. So, and that meant that I had to be really careful about where I went when I was at school, and that I didn't get isolated, and that I had people with me, or that I had line of sight on a teacher. So I had to learn how to keep myself safe. Because the problem I had too is that not only did I get bullied, but if someone picked on me, I would always fight back, except I was tiny. So I would get beaten up worse, because instead of just getting pushed over and taking a couple of licks, I would stand back up and try to fight back. And I would absolutely like get broken. I got knee dropped once and knocked out.
Really?
Yeah. And so, and that really, my parents tried to help and the school tried to help, but it just didn't pan out. So that was a really hard part of my life, but it changed who I was, because by the time I get to high school, I'm quite a nervous kid and quite an anxious kid, and I'm trying to fit in. So when I do that, I go play rugby union. I break my arm, like shatter my left elbow playing on the wing. And that means that I can't do most of the sports that other kids can, because I'm out of commission, can't play sport for about a year. And then I get into Taekwondo. Because it's mostly kicking. Mostly kicking, nothing with my elbow. And that teaches me discipline. It teaches me self-control. It teaches me how to de-escalate situations, how to take care of myself, but never ever use it to hurt anybody, always to either protect myself or protect others. That's how I met one of my earliest mentors, Frank Frost. Is the only Samoan sixth Dan in all of Australia. I'm getting nods from Orlando here. And he basically adopted me into his family, because he was trying to help me and Tyre and his daughter and others get to the Olympics for Taekwondo.
Yeah, wow.
And that was a huge, huge journey for me. But so 15, 16-year-old Jon is trying to get to the 2000 games. So I'm really focused on doing training above and beyond what I needed to do for Taekwondo, trying to explain to the school that I went to who were trying to make me do an extracurricular activity.
Because
they're like, you don't do any school extracurricular activities, and I'm trying to get to the Olympics. My teacher can tell you I'm training like 25, 30 hours a week. I compete at a state and national level like 2-3 times a year. I'm happy to represent the school if you want it to be like that. And they were like, no, you've got to do one of our specific, like in a list, pick one. So that was really interesting, because I moved schools a couple of times. So I used to get into trouble because I'd stand up for people and I'd call out things that I thought were wrong.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And so by the time I settled into the school that I did my grade 10, 11, and 12 in, I changed from that anxious kid to like a much more confident kid, stood up for others. But
outspoken.
Outspoken, and still didn't have a huge circle of friends though. Because at heart, still an introvert, right? Like hard to build trust and relationships, especially when you've been hurt so badly. So what I tried to do was like live the way that I felt that I should, like do what was right. So I was like, if I'm going to be a gold medalist, then I should be a role model. And so I sort of applied that to myself.
Right.
But I wasn't a role model, like school captain role model, where you're a toff who does the right thing all the time.
A geek.
Yeah, I was a bit of a geek. I was a bit of a nerd, but I spoke my mind and I stood up for what I thought was right. To the point where when so probably 17, when I was going going to grade 12, I was trying to be a house captain.
Yeah.
I won the vote. Like there's me and one other kid, and the dean said, "You can't be a leader."
You know, this exact same thing happened to me.
Yeah. They said, "You can't be a leader because you'll lead a rebellion."
Yeah,
I was like, "Well,
that's it.
If
That's
you do a
what
good job, I
happens.
won't need to." But yeah, so what I learned from that though, from being told you can't be a leader, is that I was a leader anyway. I didn't need a title. I still did exactly what I would have done. I still behaved. I still encouraged kids to participate in sport. I still had a lot of school pride and a lot of house pride. And I really just went, I don't need you to give me credibility. Yeah. I'll just do what I was going to do anyway. Just be myself, and we'll go from there.
It's crazy. I don't know why they're like that.
I don't know, man. I was a bit of a troublemaker and a smartass. I'll be brutally honest.
Yeah.
So I probably wasn't like the private school definition of what they wanted from their house captains, and the kid that got it was, and that's fine. He was a great guy, good mate of mine in the end.
Yeah.
Because he thought it was great. He didn't have to work as hard because I was doing half of his job. Right?
Yeah,
so it was pretty good for him.
All right, that's great. So, is there any advice you'd give to yourself looking back?
Yeah, I'd tell myself to do a trade. That's what I tell myself to do. Yeah, because so at the end of high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and my parents really chill. My mum's a nurse, my dad's an academic. He studies spiders for a living.
Oh, wow.
He was like the world's leading arachnologist before he retired.
Really?
So yeah,
wow.
bit of a interesting dude. And he did a lot of TV though, so I learned a lot of stuff about being on TV from him. So I can thank him for those skills. Shouts, Dad.
Yeah.
But when I left school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I got pretty good OP, good grades.
Yep.
And so I went to uni, and I ended up like just stuffing around and then dropping out. And then going, and because I wanted to work, and then I ended up starting my business a few years after that.
Oh wow.
So the lesson if I could do it again, I would say to like grade 10 John, I go, dude, be a plumber or a sparky. Those dudes get paid a fortune, and you can actually start your business like that. That's your first business. You are the product, and then you can employ your mates and do other things too. So it would have been an easier pathway to the same destination, I feel. And now when I look at the shortage of skills we've got, we desperately need tradespeople.
I was going to say, we need that message to
be
spoken to young people of today, because every tradie that comes to boxing or I come across or whatever, they're just saying we're dying for apprentices.
Yeah.
Like it's just...
They desperately need them.
Yeah.
We do not have enough. And that's why houses are so expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah. And every plumber I know is a millionaire, basically, high plumbers.
They all got Ferraris.
I know. And they don't even work anymore. They employ other plumbers.
Yeah. It's great. So moving on to kind of like youth voice in politics.
Yep.
Something I've noticed amongst my peers, more so especially getting into probably mid towards the end of high school, is every young person is pretty obsessed with politics and is either...
That's cool. I didn't know any of those when I was your age, so that's sweet. That's good news.
No, they're pretty... they're pretty obsessed with it, and I'm kind of wondering, is that because there's more access to it and there's more coverage of it on social media?
I think it's way more accessible.
Yeah.
And because you look at things like the Patriot marches, you look at... and stuff like that is everywhere, right? And first you get to see the build up to it, all these people saying, hey, come and march for Australia, and like pride and like nationalism, which was this undercurrent of racism built into it as well, because it was anti-immigration. And so they get to see the build up of that. Then they get to see the footage from the day where you get confirmation that there was like neo-Nazis and awful stuff happening alongside normal Australians who were just worried about a political issue, which is migration numbers.
Yeah.
But you get to see the complexity of all of that, and you get to see both sides of that argument. And there's a lot of like influencers and people who are celebrities because of politics. Like they just talk about politics. Charlie Kirk is an example of someone not my cup of tea, but a lot of people related to him and liked him. That didn't really exist when I was a teenager or even in my 20s.
Yeah.
And now it's a thing. Like if you've got an opinion and it's a strong opinion, you can back it up, then all of a sudden you can influence people. And it's really interesting that young people are into politics. Maybe I need to do a podcast,
They don't watch they don't watch like news. You know, when I say to people my age, do you watch the news last night?
No, they get it from socials, man.
Podcasts.
Yeah, podcasts.
This person, Shapiro.
Yeah, and the problem is the only drawback of that is that there's less. A lot of the people who are talking about politics aren't journalists, so there's no balance.
Yeah.
So the obligation is then on the consumer to go and find balance. So for who's your opposing voice to Charlie Kirk? Like if you like Charlie Kirk but you want to hear the other side of the argument, who do you go and listen to, right? It's interesting to see, and we don't necessarily get taught that in school, but that critical mind to be able to assess the information that you're being given,
100%.
which side of the spectrum it is on, and what is the balancing view, and go and find it yourself.
Yeah.
I think young people are pretty sharp and better at it than I was in my day. but it's still a space where
Yeah.
adults should be helping by going, hey, if you like this one, go and listen to this one to hear the other side of the
I
argument.
think first people should learn who Rupert Murdoch is,
Oh, yeah.
study his life a bit.
Yeah.
And then you can correlate that to modern politics
Can.
and see there's multiple different sources which promote multiple different ideologies and perspectives. And sometimes you got to use your conscious or common sense to, understand what's what.
That's right. And you got to see what connects to you, like what resonates with you, because people are different, right? It's 100%. The best part about people.
Yeah, that's what makes a society.
Yeah. And if we're all the same, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
But then you don't, like, politics relies on differing views because you've got to have different leaders coming in with different agendas. You can't just do the same thing all the time, right? It becomes stagnant. And you get really focused on one issue and to the exclusion of all others. So it's healthy when governments change. And you also get tired when you're leading. Like you just look at the state government right now, new state government, brand new. Nothing is too hard for them because they haven't really had a major stuff up yet. So they're just trying stuff. They're just pushing.
Yeah.
Whereas the previous state government was doing a good job, but they've been there for 10 years. And after 10 years of leading, they were tired and they were running out of gas, which is what made it hard for them to keep making those tough decisions.
Yeah, right. So, in terms of young people trying to, like, they're obsessed with politics right now. A lot of people are obsessed with politics. I walk into uni, and it's the Socialist Party stopping me at the door.
University is a pretty special place, though.
Yeah.
That is not necessarily the lived experience of everybody else. Like big P politics, which is like party politics, and little P politics, which is, are you a libertarian? Like, are you a socialist? Are you a conservative? Are you a capitalist? All those sort of things. Are you like where your values sit? And it's really interesting. If young people are into it, that's amazing. Then there's an obligation on me as a reasonably young leader. I call myself the bridge. So there's a set of leaders who are really good. And locally, we'll use a guy like Cameron Dick, great example. He's about 12 years older than me. And he's relatable because he's really good at his job. But because I'm younger, I'm more than a decade closer to you and your experiences. I remember what it was like to be you better than he does. So I'm a better bridge from you to him than you just trying to approach him directly, especially culturally. A lot of multicultural communities, young people feel nervous about approaching someone over 50 because they're like an elder. Whereas I'm not there yet. I'm still accessible. But then there'll be another set of leaders that are in their 20s, early 30s. They're the ones that will be my bridge to the 15, 16-year-olds. I try to jump that gap on my own because there's a lot of energy in youth. And we've got the youngest city in the state. So there's this huge opportunity to harness that energy and to find those young leaders and to build them up faster rather than letting them come out organically like me. Actually identify them and go, hey, how can I transfer what I know to help you along your journey sooner without pulling you off your path? Like, how can I accelerate your journey so you're a better leader than I am sooner than I got there so that you can serve your community better?
Yeah, wow. So we're one of the youngest or the youngest?
We're the youngest. Between us and Ipswich, depends on how you do the maths. And it's a difference of 6 months either way, depending. It literally just depends on who's had more people move here in the last month. It's that close. It's that close. So I say we're the youngest too because we've got the energy in Logan is different.
Yeah.
And a lot of Ipswich's youth is just focused in one suburb, which is Springfield, that part of the city. The rest of the city isn't that demographic.
Yeah.
So we try to but in Logan, the youth is everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And we're actually getting very much we have a stable age, like our average age is stable.
Yeah.
Most cities are getting older, including Ipswich. Whereas because we've got so many families here and people having kids, that keeps your average age down.
Yeah, right. Wow. So moving on, I think I want to ask about your advice to, well, I guess all the kind of ages are different. So a 25-year-old would be different to a 20-year-old, which would be different to a 15-year-old, so more or less.
Yeah. Yeah, nah. 6, 7.
So we're going to clip that.
Yeah. So we'll go from youngest to oldest. So 15-year-olds can't vote. That's the thing that they feel holds them back. Yeah. But that doesn't stop you being politically active or being politically involved. And I just had a whole bunch of grade 3s to 6s ask me, what can we do to get involved? And my answer was be good people, like be community people. Get out there, connect to your community, help your siblings, help your friends, help your parents, help your teachers. If your leaders are connected to their community, and the first thing about leadership is realizing it's not about you. It's about the people that you can help.
100%.
And that servant leadership model is really powerful. And people appreciate it when you help them, and they appreciate it more when you do it with humility. So for young people who are too young to vote, you can actually practice being a leader really early just by helping others, because that's fundamentally what I do every day. And then as you get older, so you're 20-year-old, you're able to vote, you're able to participate. If you want to be politically influential, the best thing to do is volunteer for politicians.
Yep.
I remember every single person who helped me get elected, every single one of them. And if they come up and say, John, I've got an idea, they get more time than anyone. So there's people who gave me a lot of money to run my campaign. I'm grateful to them. The people who volunteered for me are the people who actually made it possible for me to get elected. Because it takes 600 volunteers on election day for the mayor to get elected. Wow. It's a lot of people, right? And I can't do it on my own. I need those people, which is why it's really humbling to become mayor. Because as a councillor, you can nearly do it on your own with your family and your mates, right? You could do it with sort of 20, 30 volunteers. But as a mayor, it's not possible. It's just not possible. You must rely on the community. So you actually trust them to help you. And in return, they trust you to be there when they need you. So it's a really sort of symbiotic relationship that's really powerful. So once you're over 18, you can do that. Even under 18, my kids volunteered. I had a whole bunch of high school kids that volunteered for me because they were like, you're cool, we want to help. So even 16-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds, they can get involved. Election day is heaps of fun. You get to be a bit cheeky. You get to see like the clash of ideas happening in real time. It's like going to a game of football and you get to go on the field and play. And then as you get older and older, generally things like work and other commitments, family will pull you away from being able to volunteer, because that sort of period of your life where you've got young kids or you're starting a business or you're working really hard, you're hustling 2-3 jobs to try and get ahead. That period of your life is the hardest one to carve out time to get involved in politics. But that period of your life is what will give you the experience that if you wanted to be a politician, you take those experiences and you use them to inform your leadership later on.
Yes. Right. Wow. I didn't think about it like that.
Well, this is a trick, right? So we've got a really young councillor and very, very limited life experience. Like he was 19, 20 when he got elected. He and I are completely different leaders. Like he's leader of his community in his own way. Whereas my business skills and my experience running a business means that I bring that to my leadership. The way that I see council is as a business. How do we make it work better for our customers, who are the people who live in the city? How do we deliver more efficient services? How do we keep costs down? How do we make sure our pricing is fair so we don't charge people who can't afford to pay the cost of our services? And those things, and that's entirely a business mindset. Someone who's never run a business will not have that mindset. They will think differently about leadership, and they will run a different council and they'll have different priorities. And so your life experience changes who you are if you want to get into politics. And like the ones that career politicians, so they come out of uni, they work in an electorate office, they're probably in student politics. They might be a member of a union if you're in the progressive side of politics. You might be you might work for a consultant or something, or a lobby group on the conservative side of politics. Those people are good because they understand politics, right? They're good at politics. But you can't have every leader being those people. You need people with real world experience who are relatable. And so 100%. I always say to young people who want to get into politics, I say, get a real job first. And then become a politician after you've got real world experience.
100%. So I was also curious, is there anything you can spill to us at the moment in terms of the build up before the Olympics? Any city plans or?
We got a lot going on actually. Just around the corner from here, there's a $200 million indoor sports facility that's going to be built. 9 courts, biggest indoor court facility really in southeast Queensland. Like Coomera is similar size. But nothing in Brisbane or Logan or even Ipswich that big. So you got to go all the way down to Coomera to get it. And what that means is that's a great space for young people to go and play sport. But we'll also we're going to tip in and we're going to make it bigger and better to make it so we can hold events there, like big events, 1,000 people sit down dinners, which at the moment the only place you can do that is either in the CBD or down at Surfers Paradise. There's nowhere else in between. So and for a community like ours that want to have big weddings, you got to have a big venue for big weddings, man. That's just the way it is. And so the that'll be huge. And that's right next to the council building at Logan Central there.
Yep.
And it'll change that whole precinct. We're leaning into design around that. And then I'm on the cheeky, I'm trying to get baseball in as an Olympic sport.
Oh, that's great.
I don't want to pay $1 for it. I want it built by private investors. We're working hard on that. It's probably going to be overseas investment.
Okay.
And if you get baseball in, you get softball in too, because women play softball, and the Olympics, you got to have gender equality. So where do we put our softball diamonds? We've got a few already, but they're not in the ideal location.
Awesome.
So what can we do to find more of that? And if you've ever watched softball, it's actually way more interesting than baseball.
Yeah.
It's faster. Professional baseball is amazing, but all grades of softball are interesting because it's such a fast, quick, really interesting game.
So I'm taking that baseball's your favourite sport?
No, AFL's my favourite sport.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a weirdo like that for a Queenslander.
Right.
Got brought up on rugby league and rugby union. I got converted to the dark side by my aunt when she moved back up from Melbourne. She took me to a Brisbane Bears game back in the day.
Yeah, right.
And the first time I saw a guy hit blindsided, because you can get tackled from any direction. He had no idea. He just absolutely got sacked. I was like, this is my sport.
This is awesome. This is great.
And when I played it, I love doing that to guys too. So that was good fun.
Yeah, all right. Well, I only do boxing, so I get punched either way.
Yeah. And boxing, the gentleman's sport. It's a very, very streamlined sport. Full credit to boxers. They're very, very hard to manage. After I did Taekwondo, I did Hungar, which is a form of Kung Fu, for about 15 years. So that's I didn't make it to the Olympics, by the way.
Oh.
I failed.
Sad end to the story.
No, it's a really good end to the story. Because I worked so hard on that. 9 years to work up towards it. And I lost the national title that would have got me in a draw. So when it's a draw, you the referee gets to make the decision based on a whole bunch of different criteria. So it's just one man gets to make the call when I lost. Yeah. And recovering from that loss has made me a much, much better leader. When people sit there and they say, geez, people are being pretty mean to you at the moment, John, they don't like flood mapping. They're being really hard on you. How do you handle that? I'm like, I was this close to the Olympics and I didn't get there. Nothing comes close to what that felt like.
Yeah. Amazing.
So that resilience that you learn way more from losing and failing than you do from winning. Because when you win, you just move on to the next one. When you lose, you really think about it, especially. And the bigger you lose, the more you learn.
Cuts you deep.
It does. It does.
Especially in a crowd of popcorn eaters.
Yes, that's right. So, yeah. And that's why I took 4 or 5 businesses before I got it right too.
Yeah. I think that point needs to be amplified.
Yeah, in Australia, we're actually really harsh on failure of business. So if you fail, if you get bankruptcy, it's brutal. Like in the US, you pretty much reset 6 months later. Yeah. But here, it's 7 years. You get excluded from public office. It's like this. It's like you've committed this sin when all you were really trying to do was achieve something and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So that makes us really risk averse as business owners and business leaders at all levels of business, whether you're a sole trader or you're like a big 4 bank. There's a lot of fear of failure, and that fear holds you back because if you're not willing to fail, then you're not willing to test your limits.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a bit of tall poppy syndrome.
We have a lot of that too.
Yeah, there's too much of that.
That's okay.
Which,
I reckon your generation changes a bit of that because everyone wants to be the tall poppy, right?
Oh, that's true. That is true. All this social media.
That's right. The dream is to be, famous influencer and get paid to do nothing,
tomorrow. Right? Yeah. No, that also needs to be amplified. Is that everyone wants something for nothing nowadays?
Yeah.
And we need to get our hands dirty, a bit of blood, sweat, and tears.
Hard work, man. Yeah. Hard work gets you everywhere. Hard work and just keep showing up. The world is ruled by the people who show up.
So obviously you work your ass off every day into the city of Logan in southeast Queensland. Mm-hmm. What do you do in your private time? What, to preserve the time? Keep yourself sane.
I don't have heaps of private time. So I literally work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
My idea is of a day off. I had a day off on Sunday. I didn't have any events to attend. I answered 150 really tricky emails. So I'd got my emails down from 560 unactioned emails down to about 100 the week before.
How long does that take?
That one was about 8 hours of grind. A lot of those are just informed, so you just reading them, flicking them off. But the ones I had left, there was 100 of them. They needed answers. Like they're longer emails that need more thought and care.
Yeah.
And you've got to respond compassionately and with empathy to people who are going through things, even if you can't help them.
Yeah.
But that was my version of a day off. I was like, this is amazing. I got my emails down to 8 It was so good. I had about 30 flood emails left, but I left them because I've been doing so much flood, and the deadline on the flood mapping responses has sort of faded. So I've got a bit more time to work on those.
Yeah.
But so that's my version of a day off is answering emails that I haven't gotten to in about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But if you say, what do I do to relax? I like to sit on the couch, watch TV with the missus. That's good fun.
Any shows in particular?
It moves around a bit. Just depends on whatever we're watching. I love Yellowstone, man. And so I train horses and I ride them sometimes. That's probably my quiet space.
Yeah.
And the good thing about that practice is that horses only communicate with body language. And a horse will warn you before it's going to kick you. Like you never get kicked out of the blue. Like there's always something coming. And so when you've got like a 500 kilo animal that can really hurt you if you don't pay attention, it makes you be 100% present with that animal. You're not thinking about that email or what that person said on social media or anything like that. I'm there in that moment with that beast. And for the half an hour or the 45 minutes that I'm there, I don't think about anything else because it knows if you're not concentrating, it's really, really, that's when it'll get you.
Yeah.
And so, and the good thing about that is it helps me with people.
Yeah.
Because if I can tell when an animal that doesn't speak English is about to kick me, I can totally tell when you're lying to me. Because I'm good at paying attention and reading those little subtle cues that may show that you're uncomfortable or that you're not really present. I can tell if you're not listening. So it's a really nice way to spend some time. And it's good to have that relationship with an animal that could hurt you if it wanted to and it chooses not to because it trusts you. But it also is really valuable in work too because all those skills translate directly to what I do every day.
Yeah, amazing. Final thing I want to ask you today, Mr. Raven, is do you have a quote for us young people?
I do. I've got a couple of different ones that I lean on a fair bit. I'll give you the sad one first because we've had a bit of sorry business in community. Elders who have been passing away and young people who have died tragically on dirt bikes and things like that. And something my mum used to say, which is the reason, the price for great love is great grief. They're so connected. Like, so if you're feeling grief because you've lost someone, it's because you had an amazing amount of love with them. And so it's almost like be grateful for the grief because it proves that you had love. Yeah. And then my old man has the best one, which is if you want to go first, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And that was my whole election campaign. Yeah. I reckon I used that line probably 200, 300 times because it's such a powerful message that goes like leaders can't go on their own. If they do, they take a lot of damage. They lose a lot of skin, we like to call it. And you leave people behind. And if you leave people behind, you're not leading them. Yeah. You must form a coalition. You must have people with you. You must take them on the journey. Because if you end up all the way down the road, you look around, there's no one there. Who are you leading?
Yeah, wow. Amazing stuff. Well, Mr. Mayor, thank you for your time.
All good, Neelesh.
I really appreciate it.
You did a great job. You'll be a great podcast influencer, bro.
Oh, hopefully. We'll see what happens. Thanks for your time, man.
Remember me when you're famous, all right?
No, don't say that. All right. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, man. See you later.